Domestication is a multi-generational mutualistic relationship between humans and other organisms, in which humans take over control and care to obtain a steady supply of resources including food. The process was gradual and geographically diffuse, based on trial and error. The first animal to be domesticated was the dog, as a commensal, at least 15,000 years ago. Other animals including goat, sheep, and cow were domesticated starting around 11,000 years ago. Among birds, the chicken was domesticated in East Asia, seemingly for cockfighting, some 7,000 years ago. The horse came under domestication around 5,500 years ago in Central Asia as a working animal. Dog, Canis lupus familiaris, domestic mammal of the family Canidae, order Carnivora. It is a subspecies of the gray wolf, Canis lupus, and is related to foxes and jackals. The dog is one of the two most ubiquitous and most popular domestic animals in the world. The cat is the other. For more than 12,000 years it has lived with humans as a hunting companion, protector, object of scorn or adoration, and friend. The dog evolved from the gray wolf into more than 400 distinct breeds. Human beings have played a major role in creating dogs that fulfill distinct societal needs. Through the most rudimentary form of genetic engineering, dogs were bred to accentuate instincts that were evident from their earliest encounters with humans. Although details about the evolution of dogs are uncertain, the first dogs were hunters with keen senses of sight and smell. Humans developed these instincts and created new breeds as need or desire arose. Dogs are regarded differently in different parts of the world. Characteristics of loyalty, friendship, protectiveness, and affection have earned dogs an important position in Western society, and in the United States and Europe the care and feeding of dogs has become a multi-billion-dollar business. Western civilization has given the relationship between human and dog great importance, but, in some of the developing nations and in many areas of Asia, dogs are not held in the same esteem. In some areas of the world, dogs are used as guards or beasts of burden or even for food, whereas in the United States and Europe dogs are protected and admired. In ancient Egypt during the days of the pharaohs, dogs were considered to be sacred. Origin and history of dogs. Ancestry. Paleontologists and archaeologists have determined that about 60 million years ago a small mammal, rather like a weasel, lived in the environs of what are now parts of Asia. It is called Miaches, the genus that became the ancestor of the animals known today as canids: dogs, jackals, wolves, and foxes. Miaches did not leave direct descendants, but dog-like canids evolved from it. By about 30 to 40 million years ago Miaches had evolved into the first true dog, namely, Cynodictis. This was a medium-sized animal, longer than it was tall, with a long tail and a fairly brushy coat. Over the millennia Cynodictis gave rise to two branches, one in Africa and the other in Eurasia. The Eurasian branch was called Tomarctis and is the progenitor of wolves, dogs, and foxes. Genetic evidence suggests that dogs descended directly from wolves, Canis, and that the now extinct wolf lineages that produced dogs branched off from the line that produced modern living wolves sometime between 27,000 and 40,000 years ago. The timing and location of dog domestication is a matter of debate. There is strong genetic evidence, however, that the first domestication events occurred somewhere in northern Eurasia between 14,000 and 29,000 years ago. In this region wolves likely facilitated their own domestication by trailing nomadic people in northern Eurasia and consuming the remains of game animals that hunters left behind. Most studies agree that domestication was not a single discrete event. It was a process that unfolded over thousands of years, likely involving dog populations that appeared in different parts of Eurasia at different times, with dogs and wild wolves continuing to interbreed with one another and with early dog populations being replaced by later ones. Some genetic studies have documented evidence of early domestication events in specific regions. One study contends that wolves were domesticated 16,300 years ago to serve as livestock in China, whereas another reports that early dogs dating from about 12,000 to 14,000 years ago came from a small strain of gray wolf that inhabited India. Genetic evidence also reveals that dogs did not accompany the first humans to the New World more than 15,000 years ago, suggesting instead that dogs came to the Americas only some 10,000 years ago. One study even suggested that some dogs have descended not from the wolf but rather from the jackal. These dogs, found in Africa, might have given rise to some of the present native African breeds. No matter what their origins, all canids have certain common characteristics. They are mammals that bear live young. The females have mammary glands, and they suckle their offspring. The early breeds had erect ears and pointed or wedge-shaped muzzles, similar to the northern breeds common today. Most of the carnivores have similar dental structures, which is one way paleontologists have been able to identify them. They develop two sets of teeth, deciduous, baby, teeth and permanent teeth. Canids walk on their toes, in contrast to an animal like the bear, which is flat-footed and walks on its heels. Dogs, like most mammals, have body hair and are homeothermic. That is to say, they have an internal thermostat that permits them to maintain their body temperature at a constant level despite the outside temperature. Fossil remains suggest that 5 distinct types of dogs existed by the beginning of the Bronze Age, about 4,500 BCE. They were the mastiffs, wolf-type dogs, sighthounds, such as the Saluki or greyhound, pointing dogs, and herding dogs. Role in human societies. Dogs have played an important role in the history of human civilization and were among the first domesticated animals. They were important in hunter-gatherer societies as hunting allies and bodyguards against predators. When livestock were domesticated about 7,000 to 9,000 years ago, dogs served as herders and guardians of sheep, goats, and cattle. Although many still serve in these capacities, dogs are mainly used for social purposes and companionship. Today dogs are employed as guides for the blind and disabled or for police work. Dogs are even used in therapy in nursing homes and hospitals to encourage patients toward recovery. Humans have bred a wide range of different dogs adapted to serve a variety of functions. This has been enhanced by improvements in veterinary care and animal husbandry. In ancient Egypt, dogs were thought to possess godlike characteristics. They were pampered by their own servants, outfitted with jeweled collars, and fed the choicest diet. Only royalty was permitted to own purebred dogs, and upon the death of a ruler his favorite dog was often interred with him to protect him from harm in the afterlife. Illustrations of dogs dating from the Bronze Age have been found on walls, tombs, and scrolls throughout Europe, the Middle East, and North America. Often the dogs are depicted hunting game with their human counterparts. Statues of dogs guard the entrances to burial crypts. In many cases these dogs clearly resemble modern canines. Such relics are indelible testimony to the importance that humans have given to the dog throughout the ages. Origin of breeds. Once it became evident that dogs were faster and stronger and could see and hear better than humans, those specimens exhibiting these qualities were interbred to enhance such attributes. Fleet-footed sighthounds were revered by noblemen in the Middle East, while in Europe powerful dogs such as the Mastiff were developed to protect home and traveler from harm. As society changed and agriculture, in addition to hunting, became a means of sustaining life, other breeds of dogs were developed. Herding and guarding dogs were important to farmers for protecting their flocks. At the same time, small breeds became desirable as playthings and companions for noble families. The Pekingese in China and fragile breeds such as the Chihuahua were bred to be lapdogs. The terrier breeds were developed, mainly in England, to rid granaries and barns of rodents. Pointing and retrieving breeds were selected for special tasks related to aiding the hunter to find and capture game. Many breeds are extremely ancient, while others have been developed as recently as the 1800s.